Well, good morning, everyone. Yeah, come on in. I'm State Representative Dan Brady, Minority Spokesman on Appropriations Higher Education for the House Republicans. I'm joined by Representative Chad Hayes this morning from the House Republicans, Representative Noreen Hammond, Representative Bob Pritchard, and Senator Chapin Rose, and obviously everyone knows Governor Rauner. So without any further ado, over the last several weeks, plans through the legislative process have intensified to provide an operating budget for our state universities, our community colleges, and MAP funding. It's about providing the governor and other leaders with resources and tools in which we can move forward for our students and schools. One such tool is what Governor Rauner is introducing today in the way of procurement changes through legislation. During the 2015 budget hearings, Governor Rauner asked minority spokesmen such as myself and my colleagues who joined me here today on the Higher Education Committee what procedural changes could be made to procurement laws and procedures that could cut the red tape, reduce the time it takes to order and receive goods and services, thus providing revenue and savings elsewhere that could be used, in particular, in our case, in higher education budgets. From all of our 9 state university presidents and their testimony through those hearings, such changes would help them substantially. So, in our opinion, our state universities are at a crisis point. In fact, they've crossed the crisis point, and they're looking for help, a lifeline. This type of procurement legislation that will be outlined here today is a type of significant lifeline that could help those universities and community colleges across the state of Illinois. With that, I believe Senator Chapin Rose is next.
Thank you, Representative Brady. Chapin Rose, 51st Senate District. I'm the minority spokesman on the Senate side for the committee that contains the appropriations for the higher education budgets. I want to first of all thank Governor Rauner and my colleagues for taking this up. All last year, as we sat through hearing after hearing, university after university, we talked about what this procurement bill costs, what it costs them on a day-to-day basis, what it costs them on an annualized basis. I'm going to give you 2 examples, and this is not chump change. The former president of the University of Illinois, Bob Easter, said that it could be upwards of $70 million on an annualized basis. I'm on the Commission for Government Forecasting and Accountability, and I transcribed an interchange I had with the procurement officer and the state's chief procurement officer in charge of handling a $3 billion prescription drug contract. It was a multi-year contract that added up to just shy of $3 billion over the life of the contract. The first round of bidders were thrown out. They were all thrown out under the state procurement code. The first round bidders were Catamaran, Caremark, and Express Scripts. These are national companies with entire phalanxes of lawyers and regulatory compliance specialists, yet they couldn't figure out how to bid this contract under the Illinois procurement code. So they had to rebid it, go back out to bid. The second bid, 2 of them made it, but 1 got kicked out. So here's the exchange. I asked the chief procurement officer, Mr. Brown, I said, so are we sure that we got the best deal for the taxpayers? Are we sure we got the best deal for the taxpayers? Quote, absolutely, we don't know. Absolutely, we don't know. This is a $3 billion contract. That's insane. You talk about the governor's speech the other day, he put a price tag on it of $500 million in savings if we simply fix this one piece. Those of us in higher ed world would like to see this come back around to fund our universities. It's a common sense approach that everybody should get behind. The universities have been demanding it for years now, absolutely demanding it for years now. But I mean, $500 million a year, that's an amazing figure. And with that, I'd ask the governor to come on up, and we appreciate your support.
Thanks. Good morning, everybody. Thanks again for joining us this morning. This is an important step in our process to transform the government, make sure it's efficient, effective, providing real value for taxpayers, and providing better quality services to the people of Illinois. Procurement has been one of the largest sources of waste and abuse in our state. It's frustrating, the level of incompetence and inefficiency in the system, and we really need to change this. as quickly as we possibly can. We believe if we do this right, we can save over $500 million a year while increasing the quality of the outcomes and the quality of the goods and services that we're purchasing on behalf of the people of the state. In procurement, we suffer from the same problem that we do in many other elements of government. We've got so many groups involved, organizations, commissions, boards, executives. When everybody's in charge, nobody's in charge. And we've got that in a lot of elements of our government. We have more units of government, as you guys know. You've heard from us for many months. We have more units of government than any state. Well, we've got more entities involved in procurement than any other state. 41 states only have one chief procurement officer. We've got 4. They set up their own rules, they set up their own regulations, they set up their own fiefdoms, and then we've also got a procurement policy board. They also set up rules, regulations, policies. They have the ability to void contracts. We've got everybody involved. And Governor Blagojevich set up, what did he call it, an executive ethics commission. That did a heck of a job for him, didn't it? And that picks the chief procurement officers. And it's a convoluted system where nobody's in charge. We want to streamline the process. We want the governor to be in charge of procurement so we can drive down the cost. And what we're saying is, let's get the auditor general. We've always had, or as far as I can tell, we've had good auditor generals who do their job as independent protectors of the taxpayers and the people of the state. Let's have the Auditor General be in charge of auditing and require the Auditor. Historically in Illinois, the Auditor General has never really focused on procurement or procurement abuses. Let's have the Auditor General be in charge of and require him or her every year going forward, every 2 years, do an audit of procurement, see if we're following the right practices, we're following the code as we should, and also give the Auditor General the ability to do spot audits anytime they want. Come in and check out any issue anytime to hold the process accountable and with independent responsibility. That's the core we're trying to do, streamline the bureaucracy and get the Auditor General checking and making sure we're doing what we're supposed to do instead of having dozens of people and organizations and entities involved in the process. We believe if we do this right, we can save over $500 million a year for the taxpayers of the state. Huge, huge benefit. And this is all part 2. Right now you're hearing a lot of pressure. Let's fund our MAP grants. Let's fund our universities. Let's fund more certain human services, all of which I, as a governor, would like to fund. We don't have the money today. And we haven't, frankly, had the money for a long time. We need reform to save taxpayer money that will allow us both to grow our economy because small business owners will have more confidence in our economy, but we'll also free up money from the bureaucracy so we can put it into our schools and our human services where it belongs, rather than in wasteful spending in the system. Now, what we've said is, look, let's get serious about this. Let's do it now. If we did procurement reform, then we'll have the money to fund our MAP grants. In fact, we'll have more than enough money to fund our MAP grants. And if we do procurement reform and we also get the Thompson Center sold, we'll have money. We can also fund our community colleges as well as our MAP grants. Let's get reforms done so we've got the money rather than only proposing bills to spend more when we're basically out of cash. I heard a report that being funded. We have MAP grants not funded. We have universities not supported. We have community colleges not supported. We are failing. All the legislature has done, the majority of the legislature under Speaker Madigan has put out spending bills with a $5 billion deficit, no money to pay for it. We have to stop doing that, and what we've said is let's get reforms so we can pay for that. And we could have done this months ago. It is very frustrating, and I'm outraged. I want education to be our #1 priority. I want the best universities in the world here in Illinois. They deserve our support. We need the money to pay for it.
Some would say it takes two to tango. I mean, does any of that responsibility fall on the administration as well?
We have put out reforms that can easily pay for the university funding and for MAP grants. We put the reforms out. They've been rejected. The legislature says, the speaker came out and he was, I think, candid for the first time on this in December. He said, let's just go back to the 5% income tax. If that's what he wants, he should introduce that bill and vote on it. He's voted on 500 bills last year. He won't put a bill out, and he won't vote on it. Why? I don't want to put a tax hike unless I can look all of you in the eye and say, you're getting value for your tax dollars. I want reforms, and I've said I'll entertain tax reform as part of it. I've said I'll entertain it, but let's get reforms. If he only wants a big tax hike, he should do that. He's got the votes to do it. He should do it. He knows that's not the right answer, so he's hiding right now.
Are you for Bryce Benton over Sam McCann in the 50th?
I think you asked me that before.
Well, yeah, but you're running away and didn't answer.
I'm not focused at all on politics right now. We're trying to reform the government. That's what we're trying to do.
Dan Proft and his group that you, Illinois, go or
We're not.
turn around
I'm
and
not
tell you gave
focused
money,
on.
they gave him, they gave
I'm
McCann.
not focused on politics.
So
I'm
you don't
focused
care
on
who wins
reform.
in the 50th primary?
Not focused on politics.
Governor, this back
Jordan?
and forth has been happening for 8 months now. So the president's coming next week.
Yeah.
You at all
I'm excited about
Are
that.
you at all worried it's going to be like the principal coming to the classroom to scold everyone? Is this,
Well, I don't know who in Washington can look and say, "Hey, follow our model in Washington." We're really working well. It'll be interesting to see what the president has to say. He and I, I've known the president since he was in the legislature here. We share a passion around education reform. I hope he'll talk about that. We share that priority. He also has been a very strong proponent of term limits and redistricting reform. Very strong. I hope he will talk about those two issues as a way to help restore good government and functional government. I hope he will. If he'll do that, maybe that'll encourage some compromise. I know he's been frustrated by the gridlock in Washington, and he's talked about the importance of bipartisan compromise. We need that here. I hope he'll talk about that and encourage the supermajority in the General Assembly to do some bipartisan compromise with us. I hope he'll do that. It's an exciting opportunity for the people of Illinois if he'll speak up on these issues.
Governor, yesterday CTU union officials.
Yes. Go ahead.
Governor Rauner, the state is taking in money all the time. So isn't it a matter of priorities on what the state funds, like education?
Sure, it absolutely is. We're now under court order and consent decree. We have to spend money. It's not. You can't even debate it. It just has to be spent, and we're required to spend money in many departments beyond what even the General Assembly or I want to spend right now. So we're under requirement to spend at certain levels, and I've also said the core essential services of government have to function, and I fought hard to make sure our state employees could get paid so the government could actually do essential services that we can't live without. I'd like to fund everything and every priority. Much of human services I'd like to fund. I want to fund our MAP grants. We need reforms to pay for it.
Governor, you know,
CTU rejected the contract proposal yesterday. Does it just seem the district's going to be in free fall here? There's really no real efforts to make any changes at the legislative level that they've sought?
Yeah, so it's a great question. I hope this rejection by the Chicago Teachers Union is a wake-up call for the mayor and the taxpayers in Chicago and around the state. The mayor proposed an unaffordable contract. It was unaffordable. It was more kicking the can and just getting by, and he was pushing off the day of reckoning. And the teachers union still rejected that. The teachers union in Chicago has had complete control. They've been calling all the shots for decades, and it's the reason that the system there is so financially bereft. They're so broke. And what I hope this rejection will wake up the mayor and the city council and the taxpayers there and around the state, what we need to do, and we've got the legislation, let's have Chicago treated the way the rest of the state is treated. Give the state the ability to step in. If the mayor can't get a deal done with the teachers union, I guarantee you we, working from the state, can get a deal done.
But you don't
We
have
can
to-
get it done.
You
No,
don't
no,
have to deal with AFSCME. Why would you be able to
we
get a deal with
we
C2?
can get a deal done. We are going to get a deal done with AFSCME that's good for taxpayers and fair for AFSCME. We would get a deal done with the teachers union. What's got to happen? Other states have done it. We need it here. We need the ability to have bankruptcy be an option if all else fails. And I've said to the mayors in Chicago, when you look at the numbers on Chicago Public Schools, bankruptcy has to be an option that's on the table. They are so broken. That system has been so mismanaged by the leadership and so controlled by the teachers union, run for the teachers union benefit, not for the benefit of the school children and the taxpayers. That system has to change. The state's ability to come in and change. And right now, yesterday, I asked our administration, I believe it's coming. I believe a state takeover is appropriate. And contrary to what Speaker Madigan said, Speaker Madigan put out some fundamentally false statement saying, oh, it's going to be a state bailout of Chicago schools. Absolutely not. We're not talking about a state bailout. What we're talking about is management. And in the bill that we're proposing where the state can take over the schools, we specifically prohibit the state from taking over any liabilities of the schools. That's in the bill. The speaker knows it. He's sending out some misinformation. The state should be able to take over the schools, manage those contracts properly, restructure things, and bankruptcy should be an option. There's support for it. It's the right thing to do. We need it around the state, and we're going to fight real hard for that right now. I asked our State Board of Education to prepare, to be thinking about who the candidates are to put in as interim superintendent for the Chicago Public Schools. I asked that yesterday. Begin the process to identify who could be available to take over. And let's look at the existing state law on the characteristics of school districts where state takeover was appropriate. There are 3 or 4 characteristics of the financial condition. Let's begin the process to review Chicago Public Schools to see where they qualify for state oversight. I believe they clearly already qualify based on my review, but I asked it's the state board's job to do it. I've asked them to do it. Let's review CPS, see if they're qualified for state takeover. Let's begin to look for state superintendents. Every day matters for the school children of Chicago. The mayor has been postponing and kicking the can. We need to act, and we need to be ready. The state's going to be ready to step in and take action.
Governor,
Thanks
throughout
much,
the,
everybody. Appreciate
Governor,
it.
Throughout the budget process, you've been opposed to the piecemeal aspect of it.